Healing is not a straight line. It is up and down, up and down, up and down.
This is the honesty of the grief I have this podcast for.
Starting this summer, gonna get back to it.
Yeah.
As people who are grieving, we have to learn how to just ride the wave.
All of them. You will see us laugh sometimes, but we also have the information about how very hard it was and what it looks like.
Even if we're not drinking, or even if we're drinking as not to get drunk, you're still masking something. Please do not be afraid to find a resource to get out.
Hey everybody, this is Little Sister Chris and your grief therapist, and y'all welcome to the grip spot that is Grieve in Peace while picking up the pieces. I have a co-sibling here. A co-sibling, y'all, I haven't had a co-sibling in a little minute, but this is a sacred space right here. What you're going to be hearing is sensitive. It is going to be sensitive. So trigger warning for those of you all. We are talking about a death of a sibling. And I just want you to invite you all into this space with my good friend here who had the bravery, the courage to come onto this podcast and talk about her story. We met last year, and the craziest thing about meeting her was I actually had a picture of her before we actually met. And it's real crazy because I was at a concert celebrating the birthday of a good friend of mine. And I remember seeing Z on the stage. And again, I didn't know her back then. And this was October of 24, I believe. Oh, no, 23. It was October of 23. And she was on stage and she was singing and everything. And I remember taking a photo. Well, fast forward some months later and you reach out to me.
Yeah, it was a post. You made a post about being a grief therapist. And I was starting my nonprofit. I was making the outline for it. And I said, let me reach out to her. Let me reach out.
She reached out and I still didn't get it. And I was like, oh yeah, let's do some stuff together. And then I don't know what got me. I think I was going through your pictures on social media. So I was going through her pictures on social media. And I was like, wait a minute. I've seen her somewhere. I just knew I've seen his face, but I've seen a lot of people, have talked to a lot of people. And I thought, I'm going through my phone. I'm looking through these photos. It's like, oh my gosh, I saw her. I saw her at a concert. She was a backup singer. I was like, oh my gosh, that circle. I mean, it was just a few months before that. And then she was reaching out to me. So that is important to me, that I just knew that I was supposed to meet her, seeing that I had a picture of her anyway on my phone. And so I want to invite her. I'm glad she's here. Invite her into the grip spot space. There's going to be a lot that we are talking about, and she has not addressed this before on a podcast about her loved one, her sibling. So I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself. But again, thank you again for being here, for sharing this healing story, to share in this sacred space. For all of those who are listening, who may be listening in the future, that are going through the same grief.
Hello, my name is Serah Janelle, but everyone calls me Z. Musician, singer, producer, but I'm also a person who focuses on holistic wellness or whole wellness. And I started down this journey because of my own personal experiences with grief, as well as other mental health issues. Not necessarily from first person point of view, but also from witnessing it around my family. I'm no stranger to it. I started a nonprofit last year called Moody Mango Wellness Alliance, and it focuses on mental health wellness, spiritual wellness as well, physical wellness, and financial wellness. Like, the whole wellness, everything that deals with wellness. Because a lot of times people only focus on one thing. They're like, well, if I'm physically fit, then everything else will fall into place. No, everything has to be in place. Your mental, your spiritual, your finances, all of that. So that's what I'm doing now. Took a little break to get some things in order, but starting this summer, gonna get back to it.
Yeah. And the thing I love about Z, she is a very honest person about her feel, at least to me. At least to me. But some people say, well, because you're a therapist. But but Z is very honest about creating this space for people. Because she knows very well what it feels like, because she's coming from a very much an open heart, open space for people to be able to get their wellness needs together. And I love that because, again, I am a therapist. So anything wellness, I am truly enjoying and love to help support. And so we were last year, you asked me to be involved with a grieving event, which went very well.
Thank you.
For your first
My
one.
first event. Yeah.
It went so well. I had no doubt that I was going to be a part of it because we had talked about it. And when you're a new creative, well, she's not a new creative, but it's different. This is different. She's not singing. She's creating this space. So when you're creating something newer for you, you kind of get to where you start having these thoughts of, can I do this? Yeah. Can I make it work?
Yeah.
And when you put that thought out there and then made it into action and then had this event, it really sealed the deal. Like, hey, yes, you can do all this stuff.
Thank you.
Yes, you can do all this stuff.
Thank
so
you.
Here we
and
are.
I want to say, I know I've said this to you before, but I really want to thank you for the role you played in that, because not only were you encouraging other people, like the people who attended, but behind the scenes, you were very encouraging when it came to me. And that's hard to come by when you have one person who does this thing and then you have another person coming along to learn how to do it too. A lot of times people don't want to show you the ropes. Yeah. But you were fearless in that. You were like, no, this is going to be great. Like, keep going, keep going, keep going. And because of that, like, although I had my close friends encouraging me, sometimes it hits different when it comes from someone you just met. So I just want to give you your flowers right now.
Oh, I appreciate it.
In front of everybody.
I appreciate
because
it.
Because you definitely played a key role in the scene and behind the scene. Like, on scene, behind the scene, you did.
Listen, I know a lot of people who talk about, the barriers to movement. And I was like, this doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to you because you got a story. It's not like you're coming from vain existence. Yeah. You have a story. And if anything is sitting as a barrier, it's something that you can overcome. So, so I appreciate it. But I also appreciate you being open enough to tell me that. So that we could, so we could talk about it. Yeah. And then boom, now here we are on the podcast. And I didn't want you to think I had forgotten about you. No. Life been lifing.
Listen.
Yeah, life been lifing. And I said, I have a date. So let me make sure that I contact Z to make sure she has an opening for that space. So again, I'm glad that you're here and can be able to tell your story on YouTube, on this podcast. So if you can introduce your story, your healing journey, where it began.
My healing journey was and still is, it's been one for almost 13 years. My sister was killed in what they deem as a car accident, but it really wasn't. In 2012, she was my younger sister. And although I had experienced grief before or experienced loss, I had never had a loss like that. So in losing her, I had to learn what grief really is, how it changes your chemical makeup, how it changes your DNA, how it changes the way you think, how it can cause anxiety, how it can cause depression, how it can cause insomnia, all of these things, how you can mask very well if you are so used to having to be in a performative mindset. So, for example, the whole like, I was told many times, well, you know, she wouldn't want you to cry. Listen, if the roles were reversed, my sister would have gone ballistic. And then hearing things like, well, she's in a better place. But in my mind, she's not, because of how she was taken out of here. That's all you can see. When you see someone pass away, that's your last memory right there. And you have to fight to find the good memory, because you have to fight to find the good memory so you don't go back to the last one you had of them, especially if it wasn't a peaceful transition. And so with me, my healing journey began when she passed away, but I didn't realize it. I actually started, when my sister was killed, I started drinking heavily. So much so I had I had one friend actually who had to pry bottles from my hand. In the early morning or late at night, she was pulling them away. I was smoking whatever could make me feel good. So cannabis, cigars, cigarettes, whatever. I was staying up late. I was going to therapy, but the therapist was prescribing me with medication instead of telling me that this is normal, like what I was feeling was normal. And that medication didn't work with my body chemistry at all. So I had to stop taking it. And then I'm still left with dealing with these emotions. And I honestly did not seek therapy, like true therapy that did not involve medication or anything like that, until like 2016. So we're talking 4 years of trying to heal by myself. So then once I got into therapy, that like changed my whole perception of everything. That's when I said, you know what? It's okay to acknowledge my feelings. I miss my sister. It's okay for me to feel sad. I miss my sister. I had my sister on this earth for 23 years. It is unreal to believe that I'm going to be over losing her in 3 days, in 3 months, in 3 years, in 30 years. It's crazy to believe that. Especially when growing up, she was my shadow. And then once I became an adult, she wasn't my shadow anymore. But still, that was my sister. I asked my mom for her and I got her, like literally. I asked my mom and she birthed her, and I could protect her from everything, but I couldn't protect her from the very thing that took her out of here, which was domestic violence. That sat with me for a long time because I could not wrap my head around the fact that my sister was gone because of this. This is the thing that took her out of here. I couldn't protect her from this boogeyman, but I could protect her before. So the healing journey, I'm still on it, honestly, because it wasn't until last year, 2024, that I actually gave her belongings to her children. Because she had children when she passed. They were 5 and 2. And now they're 17 and 15. And I just gave them her things. And it hit me that moment that I'm actually releasing her, like releasing that emotion. I was crying and everything, like, and I don't know how to explain it, but I believe that was the first time I actually confronted the emotions behind it. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling.
No,
but
go ahead.
That's how my journey has been. The journey has been up and down. It's not linear. It's up and down.
Yeah.
It's not a straight.
Talk to the folks.
Healing is not a straight line. It is up and down, up and down, up and down. And we have, as people who are grieving, we have to learn how to just ride the wave. Don't try to fight it. If you have to cry, cry. Like, I've had to learn that if I cry, it's okay. It's normal for me to cry. I miss her. Every time her birthday rolls around, it's like I have emotional memory. Every time July 1st rolls around, I have emotional memory of seeing her in that hospital bed. And when her birthday rolls around, I have emotional memories of seeing her dancing around the house, making us laugh, asking me what I'm cooking. all these things. Seeing her being scared to become a mom for the first time and having to talk to her about that, like little things. The way the wind blows could make me think about her. And I have to ride that wave. I can't fight it no more. And that's been the key component of my healing journey, is learning to ride the wave and learning that it's okay for me to cry. Because especially in our community, we're told not to cry, not to be sad about loss. That is crazy to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the folks on through here, because this is the honesty of the grief that I have this podcast for. You will see us laugh sometimes, right? We'll have jokes and all of that, but we also have the information about how very hard it was and what it looks like. And from you, we've heard that there was a part of life where you wanted to numb it, wanted to run from it, and then ran to a therapist who was ill-equipped to handle. I'm gonna say, and I've addressed this on the Grip Spot Live. I addressed it about what therapists don't tell you about grief, and there's a lot of it is they don't know how to handle it because they were never taught to. So that sounds like what was happening for you, that you were sitting with someone who was like, okay, let me give some relief, solve this problem for her by having her get prescribed for medication instead of, okay, let's dive deep into this. What does it feel like?
I honestly did not have anybody ask me that until later on. They didn't say, how are you feeling? Don't tell me how you're doing. Tell me how you're feeling. And I'm like, I've never sat with that.
Yeah.
I've never sat with that emotion of, or that question. Like, how are you feeling about losing her? What feelings do you have? And so many emotions came up, so many feelings, regret, helplessness, sadness for sure.
Yeah.
All of those things came up, and people don't talk about that because it's uncomfortable to talk about it. But what's more uncomfortable is sitting with it and not knowing how to express it, and not feeling like you have a safe space. Like, feeling like you don't have a safe space is one of the worst feelings to have.
Yeah.
Someone looking at you telling you not to cry, but I want to cry. And then they get upset when you're desensitized. Well, it's because I've had to hold all this in. I can't relate to any emotions because you told me I can't cry.
Yeah.
About losing somebody or losing someone or losing something that was close to me.
Your take in your life, how long did it take you after having the substances and everything? How long did it take you to drop it, to leave it alone and start to focus on your wellness?
I stopped smoking. Because I wasn't smoking all the time, but I stopped smoking in, I would say, 2018. So roughly 6 years. But it was like off and on. It wasn't like all the time. It wasn't consistently like it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
But for drinking, to cut alcohol off completely, I didn't stop drinking until last year before last.
Yeah.
But I wasn't drinking to get drunk. I was just drinking to feel good. But I completely stopped, and I stopped because of another loss that I dealt with. So it's, yes. Loss is not, it's not like it's not a part of my life. I have a huge family.
Yeah.
So I deal with loss a lot. But it was the loss of my little cousin that made me say, you know what, I don't want to drink anymore.
Wow.
And it's crazy because her transition is unrelated to alcohol. But I was just like, you know what, I don't want to do it no more. And then I had to have a surgery, and I was like, I can't even do it if I want to.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, I don't want to drink anymore.
Taking care of you.
And actually just processing my feelings. Because a lot of times, even if we're not drinking, or even if we're drinking as not to get drunk, right? You're still masking something. I always tell people before you take a drink, I don't judge people. Shoot, have your glass of wine if that's what you need. But I always tell people, take a deep breath before you do it. And actually like drop your shoulders. That's why I did the drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're just looking for that deep breath and that release. And once you do that, sometimes, like once you learn to drop your shoulders, unclench your jaw, you realize you don't need those substances as much.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And if you're listening out there and you are relying on alcohol, drugs, sex, compulsive spending, food, or just being around other people just to try to mask or try to numb, listen up to this space right now. We want you to come on in and have this conversation and be honest with yourself about it, because it's where you don't want to be honest about it. And even if you think you're being honest, you're not being quite honest of how it's affecting you, your body, how you're presenting out there. And that you may have not told people that you're struggling with substances or any type of addiction, because we can turn anything really into an addiction. Yeah. Even exercising can turn into an addiction. It looks good and everybody's like, oh, you look good. You dedicated, not knowing
that you're masking.
Yes, you're masking, and it's become obsessive. So if you are that person, please reach out to a therapist. Please reach out to someone who can help and just be honest about it, because we are promoting wellness, and we know for real that it does happen. It happens in grief.
And that's another thing too. People don't realize it doesn't just have to be drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Because I was doing the other stuff too.
Yeah.
Just trying to fill that void, not realizing that void will never be filled. Losing a loved one, that void will never be filled. Yeah. Not 100%. It can be like, it's almost like when you have a sinkhole and you're just trying to cover it up with a piece of plywood. It's not the same. Yeah. It's just covered. But that sinkhole is still there. That void is still there. That's exactly how, like, when I realized that, you know what, nobody's ever going to be my sister. Nothing is ever going to be my sister. Nothing is ever going to be my daddy. Nothing's ever going to be my cousins. Nothing's ever going to be my grandparents. I was like, okay, I'm going to just acknowledge my feelings. Yeah. I'm going to deal with them. Yeah. I'm going to deal with them.
Deal.
It's been, woo.
Yeah.
It's been a journey, but it's been a beautiful one. Yeah. Because, like, you know how they say you have a beautiful pain?
Talk to the people about it.
So, like, it's almost like a bittersweet feeling. It's almost like, I'll say this. When I started dealing with my grief, that's when I started to realize how beautiful life can be. And that's when I started, like, focusing on the good things versus like complaining all the time, and focusing on making memories with people. And because at the end of the day, like, for example, there was one time where I was supposed to go, like, I was going on a cruise with my dad's side of the family, right? I never got to hang out with them or anything like that, right? And I was financially, somebody would have looked at me and be like, what are you doing? And I looked at them and I'd be like, I looked at them. I was like, my bills are going to be here when I get back. Now, I'm not being irresponsible. Yeah. I'm not going to go out here and just blow money and just, but I'm going on this trip to make a memory with these people I didn't get to be around like that all the time. Yeah. And when I tell you, in my father's transition, I gained a beautiful experience. Wow. It was painful losing him, but he left me something that cannot, it doesn't fill the void. But when I think about him, I relate it to them and to that experience. So although it was painful, it was like, but I got my auntie over here and I got some crazy cousins. I got all these siblings. I got all these nieces and nephews who don't play about me. So it's like, it was just beautiful. That's what I mean. Like there's always a silver lining somewhere. Even in the loss, it may not feel like it, but once you start digging deep into those emotions and processing your feelings, you can see, maybe you can see how it transforms you.
Yeah.
And how it transforms how you look at the world too.
Yeah.
Because I don't get as mad as I used to.
It's different, right?
It's different because you don't want the last words. Every person that has passed away around me, my last words to them, and I'm so glad I can say this, has been, I love you. Their last words to me, I love you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even people that I fell out with,
yeah,
we always came back together. I love you.
Yeah.
I love you too. That has changed even how I respond to people. If we got into an argument right now, you gonna know I love you before I pull off.
Right.
I love you. May not see eye to eye on this particular issue, but I love you.
Yeah.
And I want you to know that, like, that has changed how I look at everything. Every single thing.
Yeah, it's not that big anymore.
Mm-mm.
To be knock out, drag out, and to have these grudges with people for as long as life. But yeah, it's not worth it when you go through grief the way you go through it.
Yeah.
You look at life differently. Do you remember, because I can remember, do you remember when the floodgates opened up for you? Like when you realized, let me feel these feelings. Do you remember that time? Do you remember that day? What you were doing?
In regards to my sister, it was when I was getting ready to give her stuff away. And here I am sorting through her stuff. And I opened up a Ziploc bag that had her hoodie in it. And it still smelled like her. It still had a faint smell of her body spray. Because I had never washed the hoodie. And I was like, oh my God. Reading some of her goals and her ambition, like stuff that she had written down. And immediately it was just like, okay, I closed my bedroom door and I just sobbed while holding her hoodie. And it was the first time that I had done it. And once I did it, I felt so much lighter. Most people be like, no, it had to be when you wrote the song for her. No, it wasn't. It was last year, last August. Ironically, a day before her birthday.
Oh, wow. That was when it opened.
A day before her birthday, I was packing, like moving her stuff, because her son had a football game on her birthday. First time it's ever happened. And I was like, you know what? We're going to go to this football game and I'm going to give them her things. Started packing it up and just immediately, because I had never sat with her things. I just had them put up. Because I wanted to make sure that I held on to them for her kids. Honey, I opened up that hoodie and I smelled that. I was like, whoa, what is this? I thought I had cried. The whole, cried all my emotions, sang them out, played them out. No. And ever since then, my tears have not fallen as much. They haven't. Not when it comes to her.
Yeah.
Not when it comes to her.
Moment. Yeah.
It's like I released everything.
Yeah.
And I just cry like, I know Mother's Day is coming up.
Yeah.
I'll probably cry on that day. Because my sister was a good mom.
Yeah. The tears are so needed, you know? And actually, you said last year, and for me, I've had so many moments, right, over the 28 years now. But I can remember tackling the fact that I didn't know that I was mad at my brother for leaving.
Okay.
I did not know. I didn't realize I was upset with him. Like he had all power to say, oh, I'm out of here. Yeah. Like that was his doing. And I didn't realize that I was upset with him for leaving me. And in my little 14-year-old brain, that was what I had and carried for the longest time. Like this little undercurrent of, I'm upset with you. You know, I don't have nobody else. You were it. Yeah. And you decided to come out of here. You couldn't fight no more. Right. And I didn't realize it until like good and grown. And that was weird to me. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know that. Yeah. And I releasing that really at the age, I want to say I was 40. And releasing that as a 14-year-old all the way up to 40 years old, and releasing that in not understanding that he had absolutely no power over that. That was his time to go.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that, but for some reason there was a fiber in my being that had to release that and had to acknowledge it first to be able to release it in my grown years. So we're talking about, you know, people's grief and carrying it over some time, over long, and it looks different. The older you get, the more time passes, it looks different. It feels different. As the kids get older, it looks different. As they will graduate, it looks different, feels different. And as our families get older, everything kind of looks different, or you've experienced more grief, it starts to look different and feel sometimes complicated, sometimes releasing, sometimes rehashed.
Yes.
All of that.
Yes. You mentioned kids, and I almost just lost it on this couch because her kids are just like her. She has one son, one daughter. And when I look at them, I see her or I hear her, even the way they speak. Her daughter is, I mean, the only difference is the skin complexion. She looks just like her. Her son is tall and he has her confidence, like the way he talks. I don't see them as much as one would say I should, because sometimes it's hard to look at them. But it's not because I'm mad at them and I don't love them or nothing like that. It's because it's hard, because I feel like she should be right here looking at them with me. Her son is set to graduate soon. And I'm like, she should be here screaming for him. Her daughter is getting into these things that her mom was into. Hair, eyebrows, and all this stuff. She's getting into that. And the one person who could guide her isn't here. And it's like, the last time I saw them, she was telling me like, yeah, I can do eyebrows. I can do baby hairs. I can do all it. And I'm like, this is nuts to me, because it's like I'm seeing where you got it from. I can see it. Yes, you have other family members who do it, but this is in you. This is in your DNA, as far as directly in your DNA. And I wish they could experience her, aside from dreaming about her or aside from whispering to her in the wind. I wish that they could get a hug from her. So when I see them, it's hard sometimes, but people don't talk about that side of it. I almost lost it. I'm glad we have this cleaning. I almost lost it.
And that's it. The importance of having you here to talk about it, to mention those things, are the next generation of those that we have lost, what that looks like, how to raise them or be around them, and how hard it can continue to be as they get older. And you try to support them and love on them, but you know, at the same time, think about your sister and how much she would have been there for them and supporting them as mom. So I heard you say you wrote a few songs about your sister or of your sister. Can you share one of them?
One of them, I can tell you about the experience of writing it.
Okay.
It's called For Lena. And I was up. I was supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I was up at 5 a.m., all the way up until 5 a.m. And I was like, you know what? I can't sleep. I'm not going in. I'm using the FMLA day because I can't sleep. And all of a sudden, I like can hear my sister's voice like, I need you to pull out your laptop and write this song. I'm like, am I going? Like, what is going on? And so I wrote the song, and it was from her perspective. And it talks about what she endured. And you think the song is going to end with her, being, how they have these songs about overcoming abuse and all these things. Like, yes, I am.
Yeah.
No. It actually talks about her leaving from first point of view, first person. And that experience of writing it and recording it was when I realized that I had a lot of anger about it. And also I was upset with everybody else for not acknowledging the grief and the loss, and for the narrative they were painting of my sister. I had somebody say my sister was a drunk driver. I said my sister was a passenger in the vehicle. The person driving was drunk and didn't want to take my sister home. It was taking her somewhere else. And she was trying to get out of the vehicle. And as they were traveling, it flipped. It talks about this in the song.
Yeah.
It flipped and she was ejected, blunt force trauma to the head. Not even 12 hours later, my sister was gone. I talk about that in the song because the way the narrative was spun was, it was a wreck. When we brought up what was going on in the vehicle, because she was on the phone with somebody when all this was going on, brought up what was going on in the vehicle, the system didn't do anything about it. Her abuser's out walking around free. I run the risk of running into him. I was angry about that because nothing was done to protect her. Nobody heard her story because she wasn't here to tell it.
Yeah.
They solely went off of his. And so that experience showed me how angry I was and how hurt I was. Part of me is still like dealing with the anger part, but I'm not as angry as I was because I've accepted her cause of death. Yeah. But it's still like, if I ever see this person, like even his name, if I see his last name, I'm not going to the event or whatever it is. Yeah. I will be like, you know what? I'm not ready yet. Yeah. Just his last name. And it's not even a lot of them, but just his last name. If I see his father's name, I'm not, because his father and I are in the same community in the arts. Yeah. So I run the risk of running into him. But there was one moment where we did run into each other. He packed up his stuff and left. But writing that song, like, it exposed so many more emotions, but I wasn't equipped to deal with them. Yeah. Yeah. But
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that you're able to express that in song too, and to listen to sister when she shows up.
Oh my God.
Because our people be showing up.
They do.
They show up.
They do.
Some people don't believe in that, but mine shows up.
Mine does too.
All of them.
All of them. People are like, no, that's just a no. That's wishful thinking. No. You know the difference.
Yes. Yes, you do.
When it feels like a warm hug or a good meal, you know the difference.
My grandmother has been gone since 1993, and I promise you, I smelled her when I was at work a couple of days ago.
And I believe you.
Yeah.
Because especially Mother's Day is coming up. I always look at that, the timing.
Yeah.
Like, I know that I'm going to see a whole bunch of pink clouds when August 23rd rolls around.
Man.
Because that's my sister's birthday. Pink was her favorite color. So I know I'm going to see a whole bunch of stuff.
Reminders. Yeah.
With my
really
daddy.
Good reminders.
Cowboy boots all the time. Everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, let me just go and give me my own pair. You know?
Yeah.
My own cowboy stuff.
Yes. Most definitely. Yeah. Most definitely. And there's times where I look for it. I just need it.
Yes.
And we'll continue to need that from all of them. Every single one of them. So I appreciate them.
Me too.
Yeah.
When my grandmother drops them pennies on the ground, I know that's her.
Yeah.
Seeing them coins just glisten. I don't walk past it, came back, pennies. I'm like, okay, grand. Let me go and put this in my pocket.
Yep. My dreams are very active, and my grandmother shows up, my aunt shows up, my brother shows up. And and it's something that you will experience one day. And I do know that there are people in families and they're like, well, my cousin dreamed about our granny, but I haven't dreamed about her yet. She hasn't come to me yet. And it's okay. It is okay. They will come one day in maybe even a different form.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I think people have to be open to that too, because there are a lot of things that tell us, oh, that's not.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah. That's something else going on.
That's something else. That's get that away.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's the way you connect it with. Why do you believe if spirits can connect, why do you believe the spiritual connection dies with the shell?
Oh my goodness.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I can literally get in the car, say, play my favorite songs, not listen to Candy Rain, which was one of my sister's favorite songs. Would not have heard it for months.
Yeah. Comes up.
And I'm like, okay, hey girl. I don't even have it as one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I'm like, how'd you even get in there?
Yeah.
But people have to be open to receive that. Because you can't sit up here and say, oh, the spiritual connection is gone, but expect to get messages. Sometimes it's not even your intuition talking to you, it's them telling you, oh, don't go over here, don't go over there. But you can't hear it because you are so hyperfixated on, no, that ain't right.
Yeah.
That ain't right. That's why you ain't seen Mima on them in your dreams now.
Yeah. Go with it. Go with it. And it's telling. I think men, I don't hear it so much from men as much until they get a little bit older. But women, yes, I hear a lot about just how people show up in their dreams and things of that nature. So I can tell you, my brother showed up the night before my 40th birthday, and it was funny, but it was not funny because I was asleep, and he in my dream woke me up because he was messing with my pillow and trying to jack the pillow away from me while I was asleep. And then he pulled it in my sleep, and I woke up, and I knew immediately that was him, but I couldn't see him at the moment because I was still like sleep in my dream, which is weird. Which you can be awake in your sleep too. Yeah. So I was like, what? And he looked at me and he was like, nothing. And then he took my hand and he kissed it. And then I woke up, and that was the beginning of my 40th birthday.
He wanted to be the first.
Yeah, wanted to be the first. And I didn't know that my parents and some of my friends had a whole surprise birthday party for me, like that next day. I had no clue. He did.
Yeah, and he was trying to.
He did. Hey, let me be there first. Let me be there first. Yeah, sure did. And I was like, wow. When they had it for me, I never had one before, and like a family was there, both sides of my family, which is rare. Both sides of my family was there, and it was like I just had a dream of my brother. And I feel like he's here too, but he kicked it off. Yeah. Aww. So yeah, I am there with you. This is my co-sibling. I'm so glad that she has told some of her story, because there's a lot more to it. It's a lot more to it. This is just the gloss over version of her stories that she has, because we all have families, right? We all have things that we deal with. My last guest was talking about conflict and grief, and that's a big thing in families after having a sudden loss or having especially a tragic loss. Yeah. Even if it's a natural death, you still have conflict in families after someone has passed, but definitely after a tragedy.
You have different personalities. Try to process it in different ways.
Yeah. So what I would like for you, as we are wrapping up, what I would like for you to share with the Grip Spot audience, our family here, if you have some words for someone out there who is dealing with domestic violence, because I have purple on for that reason today. Do you have words for someone who is going through domestic violence, or people who are survivors of the violence? Somebody has died because of domestic violence. Do you have some words that you can reach out to someone who's looking at this Grip Spot podcast?
I will say, For those who have family members who are dealing with it or close friends, don't shame them if they go back. Some people go back out of fear. Instead, provide a safe space for them. If they go back 100 times, be there for the 101st time they come out of it. If you are a victim of domestic violence, please do not be afraid to find a resource to get out. And don't be afraid to report the person. I know sometimes the law doesn't do much, honestly, just to be real. They don't really support the victims. It's always, well, it has to be this bad. It has to be this bad. Get out while you can and find a safe space. If your family won't help you, find your local shelter. Most of these shelters, really all of them that deal with domestic violence, they will provide you with transitional housing and help you escape and provide you with protection to where you don't have to live in fear. And if you have lost someone to domestic violence, tell their story, no matter how many times you got to tell it, no matter how loud you have to say it. Tell their truth until your voice shakes, because they're not here to tell it. I don't care who gets tired of hearing it. Talk about it. Talk about it. For a survivor, talk about it. Find you a support system. If you have children, find a support system for your kids too. Like, find a support system for your children. Get into therapy as well. Find you a good therapist, not one who will sweep your emotions under the rug. And this is for everybody all across the board. Like, find you some good support. And if you don't have support, Google. And if you have to Google incognito, do that. If you're trying to do it while in the presence of your abuser, have a safe word as well for you and your kids, to where and give it to somebody else, to where if you call them and you say this safe word, they know to be on the way and to send help to you as well. That's what I got.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you again, my sister in grief, for being here. And for you all who are listening to this is the sacred spot that I envisioned for the Grip Spot to have. So you all can go to thegripspot.com and download a free journal for you all, and just making sure that if you have experienced a violent loss of a sibling or anyone you love, or sudden loss, that there's help out there. Like Z was saying, my sister in grief said, and just also knowing that there's support as well. There's voices. So thank you for being able to speak
problem.
The what other people cannot speak yet, or even speaking for your sister, not being able to share her story, her side. Thank you for being able to say her side of it.
Thank you for having me and for creating this space, because it's definitely needed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Grit Spot audience, we will talk soon. I love you real bad, real bad. And so come back, join, subscribe, comment. And if you have anything, just look me up on thegritspot.com. All right, bye.